Hey, so yeah, I'm going to bring this offline a little bit, but that was an amazing talk to follow. Got quite a high bar to jump over, but so yeah, I'm the founder of Rabble. We play games outside in parks, and I used to have an unhealthy commitment to normal sports. So 5 years ago, I was training for the Olympics in triathlon. One day, I was out on my bike in Loughborough, and I got knocked off my bike by another member of the GB team, and I got run over by a Land Rover coming the other way. So broke most of my back, punctured both my lungs, broke all my ribs, broke my collarbone. Was basically super lucky to survive. Got airlifted to hospital, managed to kind of basically do everything that I was doing before, which is awesome. And then came back from that and got back into triathlon a little bit. And at some point I was a bit like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm getting up at like 5 AM every morning and training for like 8 hours every day, and I kind of know what it takes to be the best, but even bending down and touching my toes is really painful. Never mind like cycling 100 miles and swimming for several hours in the pool. So I kind of got to this point where I was like, you know, someone's going to win an Olympic gold medal. It just doesn't have to be me. I'll let someone who actually wants to do that just crack on. So I went back to uni and finished my university degree, and then I found out that I was saved by an air ambulance. So found out that they were a charity, and I thought that I should probably give back and save another person at least. So I decided the best way to do this was to go to Beijing, buy a bike, and kind of cycle back. Beijing is officially a long way away. It took me 6 months to get back, but I raised about 10 grand, which was quite good. And then I'm living in London. I'm like, yep, so need a job. Became a construction manager. My degree was in neuroscience, bit of a leap. So I'm there on my construction sites, and then my day finishes, and then I'm like, yeah, that exercise thing that I used to do all the time, should probably do a bit of that. So I went to the gym, and I was like, yeah, been here a lot. What am I supposed to do now? Like, I don't want to go on the treadmill. I don't want to lift weights. I don't have a reason to do any of that stuff. I don't need to do 50 burpees. I'm never going to do 50 burpees on the construction site. I'm never going to do 50 burpees in my bedroom. This is totally pointless. Why can't I just have fun with this? And I remember all the times when I was like 5, 6, and there was no Olympics. There was me and 2 mates in a park, and it was like, right, what are we going to play today? Oh, we're going to kick the ball over there, then we're going to kick it back, and then we're going to lose the ball, and then we're going to find a stick, or whatever. It just, you know, we're running around all the time, burning loads of energy and having a lot of fun. And that's kind of the whole point of fitness, right? You just burn a lot of energy and you keep all your muscles moving, but for some reason adults have found a really amazing way of making it super dull. Like, let's go to the gym, let's like work out on the treadmill, let's do exercise classes, which is kind of repeating movements in front of a mirror with other people who are all repeating movements in front of a mirror to no purpose whatsoever. Or the sports. So, as someone who used to be in professional sport, I kind of understand what they're doing, but I just don't want to do it. And I now understand the mass population who also can see what they're doing but don't actually want to do it. So I was like, why can't the mass population just go out and have fun with it? Like, why can't we just go out with our mates and pick up a stick and make up a game, or go and kick a ball around and be totally crap at it, but just burn a load of energy? And I found that really frustrating that I couldn't do that. So I quit my job in construction and was like, let's make this happen. Like, I know how to get people fit, I know what fitness is about, but let's actually enjoy the process rather than thinking, oh, fuck, I've got to go to the gym. So, having never played really in team sports, I was like, well, I need to kind of organise a team sport, but I don't have any kit, I don't have anywhere to play, and I don't really know anything about team sports. So I put an event on Meetup and was like, let's play dodgeball. Everyone's going to love dodgeball. I've never played dodgeball. I'd never reffed dodgeball. So I put an event on Meetup and everyone was like, yeah, let's play dodgeball. We've never played dodgeball. So I managed to find a space just in Kentish Town, borrowed some equipment, and then ran a game of dodgeball, and everyone kind of enjoyed it. So I ran another game the next week. I think we played basketball after the film. Didn't really work. Turned into basketball quite quickly. And then we played Nash Ball, which was another interesting niche game that I found on the internet. Super, super hard. So we ended up kind of adapting that to fit the players that we had. And like every week I was iterating on the games that we were playing the week before and just making it so, you know, anyone can rock up. You've never played this game before. Most of you have never played this game before, so we can just do whatever we want. But ultimately we're kind of running around, we're using all our muscles, it's good for us, but it's still fun and it's still social. So week on week I like invent these games, and we kind of moved further and further away from real sports and more into like actual games that you might play when you're about 6. So we've got Capture the Flag, we've got Dodgeball, Manhunt, The Hunger Games, The Game of Thrones. Usually I come up with a title, then come up with a game. And so, but we kind of like, as time went on, realised, you know, how do we make these games, and how do we make these games really good? Like, anyone can turn up to our game, like you don't have to have any experience or any interest in fitness or running around or any interest in games. So to begin with, I was making them really elaborate and it was really exciting, and it's like, you know, I was making them as if I was in like a virtual world where, you know, you can run up and you can pick up this item, and if you hit someone with this, then this happens, or if you collect that, then this happens. And you'd start at the beginning of the game, right, you've got an hour, and I'm like, right, so if you do this, then this happens, and if you do that, then this, and you start there and you finish there and you can't go outside of this boundary, and like, the rules would take so long, everyone's like, what? Like, so how do we play? And we got to the point where we just started distilling it, like really, really simplifying it. And, you know, it's probably true of like virtual games as well, like the best ones are the simplest. I don't know how many app games I've played where they're so remedial, but so addictive. Spend hours on them just doing the same thing, but they're brilliant. And that's where we've come to. We'll start with a really simple game. It's got no more than 3 rules, so it might be, okay, here's a ball, you've got to pass it amongst everyone in your team. Everyone in your team has to touch this ball, and if you make that happen, then you score a point. Next rule, everyone in your team has to touch it, but you have to catch it over that line. Next rule, everyone in your team has to catch it, you have to catch it over that line, but first you need to do this. So it kind of builds on it. You're thinking, okay, what is the strategy for this? How many players have we got? What is the area? Like, it's different every time, and all these things came out as being important. So now we build games in a different way. We're thinking, okay, we need to make them simple, but we need to make them accessible. We want to make them varied every time. It needs to be different. And we want anyone to come and play. So we look for really simple things. We want everyone to be running around. If people aren't running around, then they're not engaged in the game. They're kind of thinking, oh yeah, where's the trees? Where's the pub? But we want people focused on the ball. So we keep it simple. We adapt the games on the spot. So people who run games for us are looking at the players. They're looking, okay, well, someone over there is not understanding the rules. So do we need to change a rule, or do we need to adapt it? Do we need to make it easier? Do we need to make it harder? How do we lay the pitch out? What area do we choose? There's so many variables which make it exciting. So people love to succeed. If you think you're not going to win at a game, you just give up. You're just like, nah, it's all right. I've had enough of this. I'm getting nowhere. So we tend to make the pitches bigger. We make more of an opportunity for people to succeed in our games. And then you want progression. You want it to get more interesting. Like, how do we make it harder? So we've just developed another set of games which have another layer of complexity on, or another layer of challenge to our original games. And what else do we want from this? So we want it to be fun. That's the whole point. If it's not fun, we are not doing it. We want people to get a workout. Like, the idea is it's replacing fitness. You don't have to go to the gym. You can come and play with your mates as you did when you were 6. So we make sure everyone runs around. We make sure people are engaged in the game, and we use the rules to incentivize people to move. We try and build in rules which stop you from standing there. Like, you can score points, or you can stop the other team from scoring points by moving. You can't do anything if you stand still. So that also like reinforces what we want. We found everyone would come to us and they'd be like, oh, we're a bit worried, it's getting a bit competitive. Everyone is competitive. Anyone who tells you they're not competitive is lying. They soon, like, the least competitive people are in there, they're fighting, they're arguing about the rules, and we kind of let that roll because they're engaged, they're enjoying it. So long as it's not negative, it's kind of cool. So we want it to be fun, we want it to be fitness, and we want it to be super social. Like, in London, it's really hard to meet people. You're surrounded by people, but, you know, there's loads of awkward ways of introducing yourself to people. But there's nothing quite like playing a game with them, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys online. Like, you know, you've just gone through some epic drama with someone, and you finally, like, make a winning pass after however long, and you're like, yes, that was us, that was a moment, we can share that, and we can bond over that. And that's cool, and that happens all the time. And it's so easy then to go to the pub afterwards and be like, yeah, you know, you're a banker, I'm a charity worker, or you're a banker, I'm a student, or whatever. And but we both scored a point together, like we both worked towards the same thing. And I guess what I saw is that loads of people are actually really afraid of playing sports outside. And coming back to the this idea of like building a safe community, that's really what we're trying to do. Like, it's super, super important to us that Rabble is a social thing, and Rabble is a safe space for people to play and to enjoy fitness. Loads of people have had super negative experiences at school where, you know, it's only the best kids that play sport. Everyone else kind of loathes it for an hour and then just tries to Skype it the next 5 weeks. But we wanted to bring back that enjoyment of like, who cares who wins? Let's just go and enjoy the game. Let's go and enjoy the process. So we push our instructors and we create a culture which is supportive and positive and reinforcing. So yeah, now I started my first game last January, so 18 months ago or so, and it was free. I didn't know what I was doing, and now we are kind of 18 months down the road, and we've just taken on some funding. We're training other people to run games. We run around 10 games a week from 5 different locations across London. We're looking to move outside of London and just kind of spread this sort of like fun gaming fitness thing, and it seems to be working. So yeah, that's my story, and happy to take any questions.
So you gave a few examples of seeing people not moving and then kind of creating game incentives for them to move, and I was wondering if you could just extrapolate, is that a word, on how that works a bit.
So the type of adaptations that we might use. There's lots of different reasons why we might adapt a game when we're watching what's happening. So people might feel like people stop moving generally when they're disengaged, and people are disengaged for a number of reasons. One is they just feel like they can't win, and so what we might do is we might make it easier to win. So we might make the winning line a bit bigger. So for example, in The Great Escape, you have to start in jail and you have to reach the safety line, which is the border to the next country, and we might make that longer. We might make it harder for the defenders, for example. So we might get the defenders to before they can kind of capture any of the escapees, they might have to run to a point and then come back into the game, or they might have to get onto the ground, or the guards might have to stand with their backs to the escapees. So it depends on what we're seeing as to how we might adapt it. So another example, someone might be feeling a bit like, I'm not good enough for this game, I'm not scoring enough points, so we might add chance into the game. So we might give out a load of cards and be like, okay, if you've got the ace, you're worth 10 times more than anyone else here. And that massively changes the dynamic. Everyone thinks, okay, well, how are we going to get this person to the end? And they might be the slowest person, they might be the fittest person, but it changes how the team works together. Or we might create other roles, we might have a doctor, which is someone who can go in and kind of rescue people and stop them having to go all the way back to jail when the guards catch them, but they can send them back on their way. So there's loads of different things that we can do, and we're kind of trying to, the challenge is really trying to teach that to other people and trying to pass on those adaptations, but yeah, that's the sort of thing that we might do.
Hi there. I was really curious to kind of see what sort of uptake you've got in different genders for Rabble, because I read a lot about how women in particular are encouraged not to. They really don't want to take up sport at secondary school level, and that's kind of really key. Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. So, so for example, yesterday we had an all-male game, but the week before that we had an all-female game. So, but I think on average it's around 55% women and 45% men. So, and the reason I believe that is because women are looking for exercise. So we come up in exercise searches and we come up in things to do, whilst blokes kind of yeah, we can do this ourselves. Whilst women are a bit okay, they're looking for the kind of exercise classes, they're looking for communities a bit more. But it's kind of even, and the teams balance out generally. There's a mixture of guys and girls on both sides. And it sort of works out, yeah.
Thanks.
How much do you find the players end up being involved in the process of adapting the games? Or
Or
Oh,
suggesting
loads. Oh my god. At the beginning, I was like, right, so this is the game. And then there'd always be one person who's found a loophole, and you're like, damn, that was not supposed to happen. And you're like, but that's kind of cool though. So then I'm like, yeah, that's better than my variation. So then it's like, yeah, let's leave that in. So I kind of love it when someone thinks of like a different way around the rules, or like rules start developing. So there's like, at the beginning of the Game of Thrones game, there's like, you have to try and get over the wall to the north, or whatever it is. And so there's like one team trying to get over the wall, and there's one team trying to defend the wall. And you have to get over the wall by throwing a ball over to someone who's already got over the wall. So you have one team in the circle, and then you have another team that's defending the wall in the middle. And they have to try and catch like the ball that you're throwing over to your teammate. And if they do, then you have to run somewhere. But if they get hit by it and they don't catch it, then they have to run somewhere. So to begin with, like, everyone's like trying to throw the ball to their teammate, and sometimes they're winning and sometimes they're not. And then someone was like, right, what we need to do is we need to get all these defenders out of the way, so they start chucking the ball at the guards, and the guards start running, and then they're like, oh, easy passes, easy passes. And it's, you know, it changes from the guards being like, right, I want this ball, to, oh, crap, you know, like, it was just really interesting to see how how the tactics evolve over time as someone thinks of something different, and then sometimes it works really well, other times you're like, you know, someone just scores 100 points because it was a blatantly obvious loophole where you're like, oh, that's kind of broken the game. So then the next round it's like, right, you get 100 points if you do this thing. As a bit of a leveler, but yeah, the players definitely have a massive influence.
Yeah, that's cool.
And actually, also on that point, we're getting new instructors in now, and so I've got like one way of designing games, and all of my games kind of have a similar theme. And what it's really nice to take adaptations and ideas from new instructors who think about things in a different way. So one of our instructors has created a new game called Gladiator, which is totally different to any of the other forms of game that I've got, which is really awesome. And it's like trying to manage that content and but remain like the culture, the important things, like anyone can turn up and that it works from a scoring point of view and people still get a workout. But so long as those boxes are ticked, it's great to take content from other people.
Yeah, hey, I was just wondering, how do you make sure the games stay like accessible and enjoyable for people of like different physical abilities? So, I mean, basic example, some people are better at running around for an hour than other people. Yeah. How do you like balance that across the games?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We have like a massively mixed ability of people who've like different experiences in sport. So for example, we've got people who have no experience in sport, people who are like really experienced in sport, and then some people who are like me, like if you get me to run in a straight line, I'm going to do great, but get me to throw some balls around, totally mal-coordinated. I'm going to be hit in the face, I'm going to drop it, I'm going to be useless. And vice versa, people who are amazing with balls but just don't like running. And we try to design all our games so that you can play independently of other people, so you can still get what you want out of the game. So there is some element of teamwork, and if you work together then it generally works better, but you can still score points if you're not as physically able as other people. There's a way for you to do it, and often actually people who are less physically able than your kind of super fit guys, like you get your kind of jocks turn up and they're like, right, I'm going to smash this straight down the middle, I'm bigger, fitter than everyone else. They're out every time, score no points, all the defenders straight on them, they've got no tactical thoughts, whilst actually the people who step back and are like, right, okay, this is the rules, how do I win, score loads of points. So yeah, it kind of weirdly works, and in instances where we see it may not work, we'll introduce rules like everyone has to receive the ball, or you're worth 10 points for the first time you get over the line and no points after that. So then you're like, okay, well, I've got over the line now, they need to get over the line, they need to get over the line. So we make it very, very inclusive, and the culture is super supportive, so you don't really feel like, oh, you know, I'm rubbish, I'm not scoring any points. It's not really about that. So yeah. Sweet. All right, thank you very much.